We are here to have a conversation about your film, Ayinla, uh, and this is so exciting for me because uh, the last time we had a conversation like this was 7 years ago, and I still remember it like yesterday.
Wow.
And you've been amazing to me personally. You've always opened your arms. You've always, I've called a few times to ask for favors, and you never turned me away. And I mean, my brother himself also, who is a cinematographer now, he got into the movie industry through you.
Oh,
So thank you very much for everything you do personally and for the movie industry. So excited to have you here.
it's a pleasure. I like young people who know their stuff and they're so dynamic and they can, seize advantage of everything. They recognize the importance of lifetime learning as well as the technology and they're on top of their game, so to say. So it's a pleasure for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, we are here to talk about Ayinla, your latest movie. It's been 7 years since we last saw a feature film from you. I know you've been busy, very, very busy with other projects that I've been doing behind the scenes. But the last time we had something that had a cinematic release from you was 7 years ago, and that was Dazzling Mirage. And coincidentally, that was during the month of June also, and this period we're also looking at Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So I guess some would say the universe aligned. So to everybody out there that doesn't understand what the Sickle Cell Awareness Month is all about, it's just an awareness about sickle cell, and you can go check out Babatike's film Dazzling Mirage, which sheds light on the importance of educating yourself around sickle cell and also the prevention, because it's very easy to prevent. And that said, so I watched the movie yesterday. I could not make the premiere last week because of some things, although my partner was able to make it. So sad about that, but I was able to watch the movie yesterday at the Surulere Cinema. And when I entered the lobby area, there was a lot of crowd, right? And my assumption was like, oh, people are here to see Hitman's bodyguard's wife. And apparently, a lot of the people were there to actually see Ayinla. And when the movie was going on, people were singing along to the tunes. And I was like, wow, I won't lie, I'm not familiar with the songs because I mean, I never really jammed up to Ayinla's tunes. But people legit sang every line, and I was like, wow, this is people are really having a great time. And I say this with all sincerity. People were having a really great time yesterday watching the film, and I enjoyed the movie. It was gorgeous to watch. And what took you so long to get back in the directorial chair? 7 years. What took you so long, sir, to get back on that chair to make another cinematic release?
Well, I did some work, which we did not release. They did not go on popular release for so many reasons. And in fact, I think I'm not really satisfied yet with the Dazzling Mirage,
Okay.
because for so many reasons. Sorry, NEPA took light, so I have to change the power.
No problem, sir. We understand.
Yes. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me sound-wise? Sound.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
No, I was actually saying that I've been dissatisfied with Dazzling Mirage and what was expected to do. By now,
Oh,
I'd hoped that every home will have that film, in everybody's home to remind us about, just to increase the awareness about sickle cell disorder. But it has not gone on general release yet. So I can say that sooner or later we will continue with it. I made one or two films, which, I did the adaptation of The Lion and the Jewel, a play by Professor Wole Soyinka, but
yeah.
I didn't release it because I still believe I still have some more work to do on it.
Wow.
So besides, I've been doing other things. It's true that I've not made any feature for some time, but yes, it can. Sometimes there is a break like that due to certain factors. But you now know that I'm going to make 2 films now back to back, because I've already announced the next project, which is going to be Cordelia, written by Professor Femi Osofison. And this film is going to be premiered, world premiere on November 5, 2021. So
Wow.
I'm going to release 2 movies in the same year, perhaps to make up for all that time.
For all the time that you've suffered us. So you're just going to give us 2 back to back. We're definitely looking forward to that. I think I would have a few questions regarding Cordelia towards the end of the conversation. But first, let's talk about Ayinla, the movie of the moment, the movie everybody should actually go out and see. So, what made you decide that, okay, you wanted to tell the story of Ayinla? There were other options. There's Bella, there's Haruna Ishola, there are all these other people. But what specifically called you to Ayinla's story?
Well, first of all, my cinema. I make films that have a, I make films about things that are relevant to me.
Yes.
Well, I'm concerned issues about that reflect a piece of myself in the story. And it's especially about me and my environment. This is about, if you like, it has to touch me in a way, and Ayinla is the closest to me because he's from Abeokuta and from Abeokuta, And when I was growing up, chances I met him, and I probably didn't know, because I remember clearly that I met him twice in my life, and they were just a glimpse of him, nothing. But I got fascinated about his music throughout 70s and 80s, because his brand of Apala is different. I know about Haruna Ishola, I know other Apala, Ligali Mukaibi, another Apala, but Ayinla's Apala is different. It's different in pace and its rhythm. It's fast paced. In fact, I called him hip hop Apala, and for me, he made an impression on me. So when I returned from film school, I sort of decided that I would make a film about him someday. But the interesting part of it is, Ayinla is gone, died 41 years ago. But it's interesting that his music is still relevant today. And that's why what you experience in the cinema when people are singing these songs, because it's as if Ayinla never left us. But the principal character of the film is Abeokuta City. Abeokuta in history, who it was once described by the outside interests that it's a rising sun in the tropics, because Abeokuta thrived commercially, and it was the center of learning and education, and there was a lot of cultural explosion within Abeokuta itself. And that's why it's impacted in creatives like Professor Wole Soyinka, like Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Ebenezer Obey, Tunde Kelani, Ayinla Omowura, and so many others like that. I mean, that's what Abeokuta means. And today, Abeokuta is modern. It experienced a lot of development in highways, bridges, and all that. But again, it's special in the sense that the old city is left more or less intact. You know, so it's a city where you can come in and see the modern city, and then you can go back and see the old city, which is the cultural hub of what Abeokuta is. So there's a lot of things at play that makes it so unique. And anyway, it's the Yoruba say, you know, so the last story is in my backyard. You know, I need just to look back, you know, and if I didn't be irresponsible of me to ignore such a huge phenomenon and then go running after people. So that is what I have tried to do over the years. That it take a piece of this man and conserve. It's about conservation and preservation, which I think is important at this time development in our lives.
We're having a little bit of trouble hearing you. I guess your audio is a bit, but I was able to pick most of it. But if there's anything you could do, sir, in terms of your network, that would be great, so that we will be able to hear you very clearly. But of course, I think.
If you give me a moment, I think I can find a way around the sound issue.
Oh, okay. Because the audio is breaking a little bit, just a little bit.
So if you give me a moment, I think I can work that out. You know.
Okay. So for those who come.
Okay, give me a minute or so. Can you
okay, so while you're doing that, yes. So while you're doing that, I'll just tell them a bit about what you just said in case they didn't really hear it.
Sorry?
Yeah, so what Babatike was just telling us was the fact that oh, okay, it's my own location. Oh, okay. Okay, the sound is good enough. Okay, so maybe it's my location that is a problem. Oh, okay, so I guess my network is a problem. Let me see if I can switch over to my mobile network. Just a moment, sir. Okay, so hopefully the sound is better now on my end or any other end. Yes, so once again we're having the conversation around the movie Ayinla, which is a historical adaptation on the life of the legendary Apala singer Ayinla Omowura, which is a film that is directed by Tunde Kelani and produced by Jade Osperu, and I think is a collaboration for ages. That way, I think that's the way to describe it. So the film is currently showing in cinemas. It got released yesterday in cinemas, and you can catch it, I believe, at every cinema in Nigeria and also West Africa. And the story basically trails the life of Ayinla as he prepares to travel for a concert in London to basically export his music from the shores of Nigeria outside to, London. And the movie also, takes a look at people in his life. I think that's what I should say, so I don't spoil anything for people who haven't seen the film. And so far, what Babatike has told us is the fact that the reason why he decided to make this film, based on the question I asked, was because Babatike is from Abeokuta, and Ayinla himself was also from there. And it was a story that easily connected in terms of, and if you're familiar with Babatike's works, you know that he's probably the biggest advocate for Yoruba cultural stories and adaptations. So, of course, telling the story of somebody who is his next door neighbor was a no-brainer, rather than traveling all the way to look for somebody else's story to tell. And I think it's a story that was told brilliantly well. So I think that pretty much brings everybody up to speed in terms of all we've discussed so far. Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Is this better? Can you hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you very, very clearly. Thank you very much for helping me out with that. Yeah, so the next question I would like to ask is regarding this collaboration was quite interesting. Nobody saw it coming, right? And I'm not even sure if you've done collaborations in the past with in terms of the fact that Okpomulero and a co-production with somebody else or another studio. I don't know if you've done that before. It would be great if you could let us know if you've done that. But you as one of the oldest filmmakers in the game, I mean, probably the oldest I know, definitely the oldest I know in the game, and somebody whom I respect very much, and everybody else in the movie industry does respect very much. And there's a new age filmmaker who is doing great things in person of Jade. How did that relationship happen? Because when I saw the collaboration, I saw that, oh, okay, this is going to be produced by Jade and directed by Tunde Kelani. I was like, wow, this is amazing. These are two people that I respect very much. How did this happen, sir?
Well, filmmaking by its nature is about collaborations. I've had several collaborations I can't even remember. For instance, you could perhaps have talked about Kunle Afolayan. I'm closer to Kunle Afolayan than anybody else because Kunle Afolayan is my success story. Every time we have had some kind of collaborations that there was no publicity about it because of our relationship and so on. So I'm always open to collaboration. In fact, that's the thing I teach about filmmaking, because filmmaking works on the principle of teamwork and collaboration. So essentially, it's not really a brainer, but yes, you are right, because I don't want to tell you a joke. One of my friends is very, very saucy. He's a very bad person. And I said this during the premiere, that there's this man, black man, he's so black that he called himself Dudu Productions, Tunde Kelani, who we met at the sister birthday party of a friend, and we haven't seen for a long time. And when he came in, he started to greet everybody. And when he got to me, he said, ancestor. And I said, what do you mean, ancestor? Are you out of my mind? I said, no, don't worry. You see, when I look about Ayinla, I look around too, and like you pointed out, I am no doubt the oldest member of that team. You understand? And some of them were actually looking like my grandchildren. But but that's what it's supposed to be. It doesn't matter who, what age, and all. We all came together, and Jade and Tony and my friend and of many years, Jide Bello, Shehu Ali, and all of us came together for the purpose of achieving this goal, and that is giving the world this Ayinla production. So it's just not me. It's not only me now. It's about, I'm like a bridge between the new generation and the old guard. You understand? And it worked beautifully well. And I expect that such a collaboration will continue, as we go along.
Amen to that. I remember when you were preparing for Dazzling Raj back then, and you put out calls for people who were going to collaborate on several areas. And yes, so I remember then, and a lot of people answered the call. And I remember that even a couple of friends of mine, Bola Bello, also came in to work with you on certain capacities. So yes, I think when it comes to collaborations, you're one of the biggest advocates for such, and we're glad that you keep passing the mantle on to the next generation. And I would say that Feem Awojide is also another success story. Because
Yes,
I mean,
of course. I think we worked together on Dazzle Mirage as well. And then
yes,
I
yes,
can
that was his
remember
first.
Femi was a constant figure at mainframe at Oshodi. You know, he came so many times.
Yes,
So of course,
yes.
I'm so happy about people like Femi. He's very
Yes.
talented, very kept busy all the time. So I'm sure he's moved up higher, and higher.
Yes, sir. So, in terms of the cast, what made you decide to use? Was there an audition, or how did you end up casting Ademeji Lateef, who was extremely brilliant, if I must say, in that role? And I mean,
Well,
it was fluid, it was smooth, it was just something else. Was it a casting? Was it fixed, or was it an audition?
no, I told you during development, I had eyes on one or two or three people, but
Okay.
Lateef finally, he fits more for so many reasons, and I thought that he would be more dedicated, because you need to study the challenges are enormous in the sense that you not only you are just not required to act like that. You are going to have live performances. You have to know the songs, you have to
Mm.
dance, and you have to react. But more importantly, I think he performed beyond my expectation in the sense that I
Mm.
had gone out of. I gave him materials to work with, and not only that,
Mm.
he did extra work, and somehow managed to get the Egba accent. I didn't know he spoke it or how well he spoke it before, but he certainly brought something into that production, and he personalized it. Maybe he runs away with it, So he
Mm.
deserves all the attention and accolades, that he gets on that role.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. And I mean, not just him. I mean, everybody in the role. I really loved Kunle in this role also. And he embodied that Ajala character, somebody that
Character.
had that suave, that class, and he embodied it very much. Adela Oye also, she did a great job in her way. Macaroni, I found Macaroni quite exciting, and of course Omowumi, my friend Omowumi, was also, she embodied that, that chic role very well also. And I mean, everybody came with a very amazing performance. But in terms of Ajala as a character, was that a fictional relationship, or was it something that existed back then? I'm talking about the relationship between Ajala, who a lot of people might not know. Oh, okay, was the Ajala the traveler persona? Was it a real relationship that happened with Ayinla, or was it just a fictional addition to the story?
No, apparently most of the film is fictional because we
Okay.
focused on perhaps the last 6 months of life of Ayinla Omowura.
Yeah.
And at that time, Ajala had the promotional outfit, and
Okay.
he was around some musicians. But I'm not sure. I doubt if he had a relationship professionally with Ayinla Omowura. If they ever made
Okay.
contacts at all, there's no record of it. But this is our own
Okay.
invention. It's our own story. It's our own invention of what could have been
Okay.
possible. What could have been possible, in that plot. And talking about Kunle Afolayan is full of surprises, because Kunle Afolayan has an eye and detail in his own work, So we have collaborated. We worked together several times, and it's interesting. When he latches on to a character, he personalizes it. He makes it his own. He designs what his hair will look like. He designed what is, everything about the character Kunle supplies. And it's interesting because I'm not sure if Ajala in life smoked cigars or not, but Kunle gave him one, so, and Kunle is fun to work with because he brought his own cigars, and he knew how many he needed and when he needed it, and things like that. So I think we had a rich cast. I'm so excited, to discover some of the youth talents that we have in Nigeria. Everybody brought something into their character. They were fantastic, and all of them have massive followings, and then it's interesting to see them in a new role, in new roles, other than what anybody could have expected. Ayinla and Apala. Apala. Take Apala. It's interesting now because this is an Abeokuta product, and it's as local as you can have it, both the music and the context of it. But Ayinla Apala in IMAX, for God's sake, and by and by, you find it is you take something of your own that is local, that God gave you, one of the intangible heritage that God and your ancestors are giving you, and you take it and you promote it. You promote it and you work at it and you see the advantage of technology and then sell it to the whole world or take it global and say, hey, listen, we also have a voice. We have a rich cultural heritage. I've consumed yours. Now this is mine. And that's what we are supposed to do in the first place. That's a lesson to all of us, that we should look more inwards. We are blessed. All we have to do is look back and dig it up and thank God for what God has done for us.
Thank you very much for that, sir. And a lot of people in the audience are actually calling for you to do an adaptation of Barista's story. what would you say about that?
Let me tell you, it's as if they are reading my mind because there's I have the whole collection of Barista's music, and I was toying with the idea of doing one of his songs. I see this story as when it opens, there was a crowd. There's going to be a massive, massive concert, and it was featuring Ayinde Barrister. And in the story I have in my head, it was his last performance. And then some people left. They went through upstairs and found him. He was relaxing on the bed and said, Alaji, it's time. He said, oh, are they ready for me? They're ready for me, And then he puts on his special costume for that night, followed them, goes on stage and does this wonderful performance. And then he goes back, and then the following day they announced that he was gone. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking, more or less, almost identical to Ayinla Omowura, but in another way, another sense. So I think it's a possibility.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed in that regard then. We also spotted your cameo. Did you mention that we spotted your cameo in the movie? So I don't know if you've made previous cameos. You've made cameos in your previous works, or is this the first time you made a cameo in your film?
Well, in this case, it was a question of the casting necessity. It started some debate, and some people felt that if I did it, maybe it was just going to entertain people. No, it wasn't. It was a question of casting necessity, because Ayinla was reputed to, to have shied away from any recording and interviews and things like that. We couldn't find any material on him because he just didn't like it. In fact, he didn't cooperate. He was notorious for not cooperating. The closest was that I think he played for OGBC, and that was audio only. And one of the people who were present said he felt so fed up with the whole system that he the song he sang complained about if it was not question of money, and so what would bring me to a place like this? You understand? So we needed to explain that the reason why we didn't have any visual material on Ayinla Omowura is for one reason or the other, it just didn't cooperate. So they sent this film crew from Western Nigerian television to interview. Of course, it's fiction, it didn't happen. You know, and then he almost sat down. He sat down to the interview, but perhaps it was partly the arrogance of the TV people who came, you know, and they were dictating to him, you know, and they were saying, no, he's not properly dressed for this thing and so on. So that gave me the opportunity to, you know, to dump them and say, well, listen, I'm gone. And it's not Ayinla Omowura that has done this, because I knew of Mama and Chata when we went to Kaduna to film him for an advert. Mama and Chata, I think somebody in the north will do the story of film of Mama and Chata, one of their greatest, like Apala musician too in the north. And we're in the studio filming, and after a while, I mean, he got up and started to walk away. And the people there said, he's going. He said, maybe he's going to the restroom or something. They said, no, if he gets up and goes like that, he's gone. He's not going to come back. You know? So, which all I now wanted the opportunity to get up and say, oh, you want me to go and change? You want me to dress again? And then he goes and says, look, if you ever find me in a place like this again. You know? And I thought, this is the best person that could play that part of the cameraman is myself, because this is what we did when I was in Western Nigerian television. This is the same camera we used. That camera we used was the same camera we used to film all the independent films in the 80s, which I got back from my partner Wale Fanu for that purpose. So this was the film camera that I used personally. So I didn't have to coach anybody they don't know, never come across something like that. So I was the perfect person to play that role myself. So it was a question of casting necessity and part of the conservation of our history.
So that brings me to my next question. When you talked about the fact that the camera you used, because the production design was mind-blowing in terms of the cars, the locations, the drinks.
And
I also noticed that
the costumes.
The costume, yes. So can you tell us a bit about that process, how you created this world? How easy was it to actually create this amazing world that was created?
No, it's more challenging than you can ever imagine, you know, because it's very difficult. We are notorious for not keeping anything. It's very difficult, even to today. There are certain important props that we could not get. And it's getting more and more difficult to do anything back in history, you know, because it's just difficult to get people to cooperate. How many times we had to chase Okadas off, or wait for Okada to stop coming, or wait for people to put away their mobile phones? In fact, I think it's going to be difficult now to record anything that has to do with any of our cultural, because everybody with a mobile phone today think they have a right, you know, to take out their mobile phone, and you can have 100 mobile phones around all these things, you know. But we renovated some of those buildings. We had to paint them and do some work on our locations and things like that. And Adebakare did the costume. I think for Lateef Adedimeji, I think we had 20 costumes, you know, just for him alone. And we tried to match each character, you know, with their costumes of that period, of that time, of that fabric, and things like that. We did everything we can to get whatever is left, you know, and the way things are going, it will be very, very difficult to do a film like that again, because we didn't keep anything, you know. We didn't keep the cars, we didn't keep the buses, we didn't keep anything. So it was more challenging than you could have imagined.
But I think you actually pulled it off brilliantly because remembering a lot of scenes. For example, the scene where the masquerade was performing, that was so brilliant. The concert, the massive concert that I held, that was so brilliant. So how were you able to create that massive concert? I'm sure that would have taken how many days? 2 days, 3 days to pull off.
No, we first of all, what we did with the venue, nobody has noticed that it is the same. Our Centenary Hall, Abeokuta, can never look like that. You know, even after we built it, you see the first of all the view of Centenary Hall, Abeokuta, like you have never seen it before, will ever see it. You know, when you move inside, you realize how we had transformed it, you know, and given it the fitting, you know. So those are, you know, those things are there for us. I'm happy that we're able to document Abeokuta itself and some of these historical sites, you know, forever, or whatever that is left that we can do. I think we have done it. Even from our opening scene, when we went over Abeokuta from the aerial, they are the most important structures left. Those are the things we went for. And I'm particularly delighted about that tree at Ikereku, that tree, Ogiolono tree, that is over 100 years old. I'm happy that we still found it there. And then as we come around the Ogiolono tree, we glimpse the Holy Trinity Church, Ikereku, which was built in 1938. It is a stone church. And originally, what Holy Trinity, it had 2 towers. Every building that I know have 2 towers. But the Holy Trinity has 3 towers. I think the founders, they decided to add a 3rd tower. So we couldn't resist, you know, the movement we made from just the center tower, and the camera pulls back to see all the 3 towers at once and all the stone structure, you know. So those are documented for life. And then, well, we couldn't do the Olumo Rock because of the lift that's in front of it. But it's interesting because behind Olumo Rock itself is more interesting than the front of Olumo Rock, you know, because you could find a miniature Olumo naturally, you know, at the back of the present Olumo. So those are, and then we went across, and then as we go to the sky to reveal the party, we actually said Itoko, 1980. You know, this is a film about Itoko itself, about Abeokuta itself, about Shodeke, about Emere. You know, these are, you know, Ayinla Omowura's hangouts. You know, so it's a tribute to not just Ayinla Omowura, but where his birthplace. You know, those are the hidden treasures and the codes in Ayinla Omowura, in Ayinla the movie.
Wow. I really hope this movie is going to travel to festivals. I don't know if you have plans for festivals and tours and things like that, because I believe very strongly, like I really enjoyed watching this so much. It's also gorgeously beautiful, and I say that without any form of whatever it is. But are there plans for this movie to actually travel out and you know, go to tours and things?
Even before we finished the film, I'd received invitations, one from African Film Festival in Scotland. And then, you know, I got some invitation from something that mentioned Saudi Arabia and so on. So this just, we really haven't, we just finished the film, and I'm sure the film is going to travel in 2022. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, okay, okay. A lot of people are asking on for Netflix in the crowd. Guys, calm down. Go and watch it in cinema first. Let this movie gross 200 million. Let it gross 200 million. Leave Netflix for now. It's going to come to Netflix.
I can imagine, because I know Nigerian in diaspora, people abroad are dying to see the film, and we will try and get it to them, you know. And
okay, okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that Ayinla's fans base is really extensive outside extends out of the shores of Africa itself into the diaspora all over the world.
So did you take documentations from family and friends? Thank you very much, Kabira, for that question. Did you take documentation from family and friends to bring this character to life?
Well, of course, that's part of our research. I think the first person we interviewed was Uncle Benson Ijonje, who turned 85, just last Sunday. It's a pity I couldn't attend his birthday party because he worked at EMI, and probably those are the people who produced Ayinla Omowura when he recorded for EMI. So we had an interview with him. And then we had an interview with so many people. And in some places, we had to hurry because it was like a depletion. When my cousin Esadi was alive, he promised me he knew his Badaru. Olotun, he was the right-hand person to Ayinla Omowura. He says, he's my brother, he's my uncle, let's go and talk to him, and so on. So we went off to Elega. Uncle Badru probably has a shop. He's a tailor, and he has a shop there. And so confidently, Esadi walked and said, Badami Badru, only Badru died 6 months ago. So
Wow.
that's most of our experiences. Anybody we targeted died. Anybody. So, those are, I'm happy, that we were able at least to get a glimpse of who Ayinla was.
All right. So thank you very much, sir. You've blown me away with this conversation. Memories, lessons in terms of history, and this conversation has been something else. And I appreciate your time. I know how busy you've been promoting your film. Thank you very much. So people in the crowd, if you have questions, I'll take about 3 of them. But while your questions are coming in, is there anything you want to tell us, or you can tell us just a little bit about your upcoming film, Cordelia, which is coming to cinemas in November?
Well, I can't talk much, about Cordelia. It's still in stages of production, but I think it's going to be an important film, as much as Ayinla, if not more than that. And it's a film that we will all be proud of, because it's a film that's going to collaborate outside the shores of Nigeria.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. But we're definitely looking forward to that. For you, when you say something like that, we are excited. We're looking forward to something massive because, my own question would be, in terms of scale. I remember Oleku. Oleku was massive. Oleku was a cultural phenomenon back then. It defined culture, it defined fashion. Shawarede was mind-blowing. What would you say has been your most challenging project till date, sir?
Every project I've done has been very challenging, and that depends on the available resources available to it at any time, which is always never enough. We run out of money. It happens all the time, and then you wish if only I had 2 million naira more, if only I had maybe a week more, if only I have that. See, that happens perhaps all the time. So all of them have been special, and I couldn't have done it alone. My family, my wife, the children, all their sacrifices and support, and people who pull me up when I fall down, because I've crashed, I've fallen down many, many times. But the group of people, some people who are close to me, who have tolerated my excesses as an artist, as a filmmaker, because I tend perhaps to overdo these things. And then when the results come, instead of saying, we told you so, if you had been more sensible, nobody talks to me like that. They just encourage me, they dust me up again, and I get going again, So that's why it's absolutely important. I could never be arrogant after such experiences. It leave me very, very humble, because without all this support and everybody around me, I would not have been this successful. So I'm most grateful to my wife, the family, the children, my friends, my collaborators, my supporters, die hard TK people, and I guess I'm just lucky. And more importantly, I thank the Nigerian audience, because ordinarily I'm a behind the camera person. How they manage to, reserve some attention for me, it's amazing. Mainframe is mainframe, TK is TK. And for those reasons, I could not have relocated anywhere in the world except where God has situated me, among my people who appreciate the little that I'm able to do, and I just thank God for everything.
Thank you very much, sir, also for always giving us amazing memories. Every movie is tied to some form of amazing memory. Is it like I mentioned, Oliko showing university life, what it was like in the 70s and the 80s and the culture. Sharade showing what politics was and currently still is doing. Toluwanile in terms of greed, what greed can cause, and things like that. Dazzling Mirage in terms of health, Mami in terms of the sacrifices of mothers, Campus Queen in terms of school life once again, and now you've given us a musical adaptation of a musical legend. We can't wait to see what you're cooking up next. Of course, I remain a massive fan of yours, and I'm truly thankful for you to make our time. I know how difficult it was for you to agree to this. I think I called you like 5 times before you finally said, Muyiwa, okay, yeah, so it's Saturday. So I'm really thankful, sir. And to everyone. Yes, sir.
I think it's worthwhile. I'm so happy.
Yes,
because I'm sure, some other people will have picked up one or two useful things, and they can go back, to their own work too, because we are trained not to make excuses. We are trained to make films, to tell our stories. So whatever technology you have, even your mobile phones, smartphones, go out there and tell your own story. That is the lesson. That's what we have to do.
Thank you very much. And that's on that note, because I saw a question regarding how I should start making films. Somebody was asking that. Whatever you have, please. Babatika has given you the advice. Start with whatever you have.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, and do have a